Similarities. We talked a lot about the similarities, right? What Moses did for the children of Israel, right? How Moses was supposed to be killed. Tell me, how was Moses supposed to be killed? All the boys? I'm asking. Huh? Kill all the boys. Yep. And the same principle happened with Christ. Right? Moses was the one to go in and tell Pharaoh, let my people go. Right? That was mass deliverance. Those people were in bondage. Am I right? All right. I want to show you how stuff plays out. God showed me this today. He showed me, he said, in heaven, the Bible says there was war in heaven, right? And who was cast out? Lucifer. God didn't create Satan. God created Lucifer, who became Satan. The word become means to work. That means Lucifer worked at becoming a devil. So whatever you are, you practiced on it, and that's how you became it. If you're a liar, you've been practicing. Fornicator, you've been practicing. If you're faithful, you've been practicing. Let me get to some good stuff. If you're blessed, you've been practicing. If you're highly favored, you've been practicing. Am I making sense? And that tells you can become whatever it is that you practice to be. So if you just want to stay mad all the time, guess what? Just stay mad. And guess what? You just going to be mad. I don't know why I'm mad all the time. Well, you practice. Am I making sense? So Lucifer was kicked out of heaven because he rebelled against God. Right? He rebelled against God. In so many words, he betrayed God. That happened in the spiritual realm. Physical realm. Judas. At the Lord's Supper, the Bible says, and then Satan entered Judas, and what did he do? Betrayed Jesus. So everything that you see happening in the natural happens in the spiritual first. That's just like the seed. When you plant a seed in the ground, you don't see it come out until it is taken root where? Under the ground first. So everything that we're dealing with, whether we're dealing with our sexuality, whether we're dealing with how we are in life, whatever we're dealing with, something happened underneath the surface that we did not deal with. And so what we're looking at now in our problems is the fruit of something we did not deal with while it was first planted. And so as long as we continue to attack the fruit and leave the root where it is, it's going to always grow back in its season. So you really ain't mad at who you think you're mad at. I shared with some people this week. I said, you ain't mad at your biological daddy. I heard Pastor Henderson say this. He said, you ain't mad at your biological daddy. He's just the one that's closest to you that wasn't there. So you don't know how to be mad at nobody else. But how you know what his daddy didn't do? How you know his great-great-great-grandfather didn't start all of this mess? And his great-great-great-grandfather probably was a good man that probably had to go to work and probably was in war. And he couldn't be there because he was at work and he was at war. So therefore, those children grew up without a father in the house because daddy was at work or at war. And then it continues to grow and they don't see a father in the home. And so now you mad because your dad is trying to be something that he never had. So you got to stop and think about it. What you're looking at is just the fruit of a seed that was planted that you don't even know where it came from. That's why it keeps coming back. It's a cycle. As long as I'm pulling the fruit off the tree and I'm never digging down to where everything came from, I'm going to always deal with the same mess. Sometimes the problem ain't with everybody else. That ain't what this message is about, so I'm going to leave that alone. But Moses, in so many ways, it's just amazing how the Old Testament is almost the physical version. And then Jesus comes and he does what Moses did. What Moses did physically, Jesus turned around and did it physically but spiritually. Does that make sense? Watch this. I'm going to show you these real quick. Moses' parents hid him, right? Exodus chapter 2, verse 1 through 4. Jesus' parents hid him. Matthew 2, 13 through 23. But what's so crazy is when Jesus' parents hid him, where did they hide him at? In Egypt. Where were the children of Israel in bondage at? In Egypt. That excited me when I saw that. I don't know about y'all. But it was like, he hid in Egypt, and in my mind, the way my mind works, like, man, you took him to the same place that these people were once in bondage, and he hid there, and nobody touched him. So to me, that's him exercising his authority. I'm a hide in plain sight. This is the land where my people used to be at. Now it's my safe place until something else passes along. And so that just blew my mind when I saw that. And so then I go even further, right? Let me see. Let me go back. Back. Kill the boys. I got that part. Moses was delivered children of Israel. Yep. Moses was the deliverer for the children of Israel. Jesus was and is the deliverer for the children of Israel and the world. What Moses did physically, Jesus did spiritually. Right? Now, Moses lived in a palace, Exodus 2 and 10. Jesus lived in a palace. He was in heaven. Right? Moses left the palace voluntarily. Jesus left the palace voluntarily. And that says, if you go to Hebrews chapter 10, verse 5 through 7, when Jesus is saying, make me a body, I'll go down there and take care of everything. Right? Moses talked to I am, Exodus 3:13. Jesus said, I am. Right? And so when you keep going, Moses did not want to go back. This is where Jesus starts separating himself. Moses didn't want to go back to Egypt, but Jesus wanted to come to earth. Moses used the lamb to feed him. Jesus said, I am the lamb. Y'all watch this now. This is where it's getting good. Moses parted the waters of the Red Sea. Jesus walked on waters. Y'all not hearing me here. Right? Watch this. Watch this. Moses led the children of Israel through the Red Sea. Jesus led us by leaving a Red Sea of blood. Y'all ain't excited yet? Okay, I'm going to get you in a minute. Moses fed the people with manna that fell from heaven. Jesus took 2 fish and 5 loaves of bread and kept feeding them until it ran out, until they got full. Y'all not hearing me? He didn't tell them save something for today and then come back tomorrow. No, Jesus said, as long as you come back and you're hungry, I got something for you. So he's separating himself right here, right? Y'all getting excited all over again. Woo. When I see the blood, I will pass over. That's what God told Moses. When I see the blood of the lamb, watch this now. He says, when I see the blood of the lamb smeared where? Smeared where? On the doorpost. When I see the blood of the lamb on the doorpost, I will pass over. Right? Jesus said, I am the door. Y'all not talking to me. Jesus said, I am the door. And what did he shed in order for us to get in? His blood. Y'all, you see, this is why when we talk about celebrating Passover, this is what this means. The excitement ought to be there because Jesus is going back. Man, he was doing his thing, but here's one that really got me that was so symbolic. As Christ is, I'm going to go here. As Christ, watch this now. Christ was in the Garden of Gethsemane, right? And he prayed 3 times in the Garden of Gethsemane in order for God to release him from it. He was in the garden when he was betrayed. Adam and Eve were in the garden when they betrayed and rebelled against God. So he's taken authority back over the garden by allowing these things to happen to him while he's in the garden. Y'all got to see what he's doing here. Y'all got to see what, look, Jesus was a carpenter by trade. His father, Joseph, was teaching him how to make tables and chairs. And so in order to make tables and chairs as a little boy, Jesus was working with wood, hammers, and nails as a little boy. So therefore, when it's time for him to get crucified, he knew the equipment that they was going to use because he'd been playing with it his whole life. Oh, now hearing me here. And watch this. He is crucified where? On a tree. Adam and Eve lost their connection where? From a tree. He had a crown of what? Thorns on his head. The curse that Adam received when he got put out of the garden, the Lord says the ground will yield its thorns for you. So here Jesus is canceling that curse out too. But here's a good one. He's pierced in the side where it hurt. Eve was taken from his side where it hurt. But watch this. Woo, boy, that don't need to be open. I want to run. What came from his side? Water and blood. Moses delivered the children of Israel through what? Water. Jesus delivered us through what? Blood. So that's his way of covering the old side and the new side. In other words, Jesus' side piece has been forgiven already. So look. So the similarities, it's not a coincidence. See, man, if you get in that book, it's a whole similarities. So he did everything he did. And what blows my mind is even on the tree. Thank you, God. Trees give us what? We breathe out what? So everything bad that we breathe out, the tree needs. And everything good the tree breathes out, we need. Oh my, it is no coincidence why this works out the way that it does. Absolutely no coincidence. So this is why God in this day is saying, okay, if I did all of this for you, why do you still have a slave mentality? Why are you still thinking in bondage? I brought you out of Egypt. Why are you still thinking like you're in Egypt? Numbers chapter 13, he says, go over to the land that I'm going to give you and scout it out. This is what Moses told all the leaders of the 12 tribes of Israel. Go and scout it. God said, go scout it out. I'm going to give you that land. I want you to go see what you got coming to you. I want to see how big the people are. I want you to see the fruit. I want you to see the animals. I want you to see all of this stuff over there and then come back and give a report. They went and they scouted out everything and saw like, oh, my God, this land is huge. Y'all, they picked grapes big as basketballs. They had a cluster of grapes that 2 people had to carry. And them some big old grapes right there. You can imagine eating a grape like this? Look at what we got. And them jokers don't even have seeds in them. If they ain't got seeds in them, them manipulated. Them ain't even real. How you going to have a fruit with no seed? You do realize those little tomatoes, little Roma tomatoes, Them ain't real. Because if they're on the vine and they look just alike, they're the same shape, the same size, those are genetically modified. That's the only reason why they look the same. But if you get the real tomatoes, they be striped purple, orange. They call them heirloom tomatoes. Start watching. Start paying attention to what you're eating. And see, it's just a little bit too much. But see, this is what happened when we fell into sin. When we fell into sin, we start overpopulating. And so now food has to be genetically modified to keep up with the population. So if we did everything God's way when we were supposed to do it, everybody in here would be on an organic diet. That's for real. Now, Moses told them in Numbers 13, go and look at the land and then come back and tell me. So 12 dudes went over there, and the 2 youngest ones were the most hype. They went over there and they saw the giants. They saw all of the food. They saw all of the stuff, and they came back and they said, Moses, man, it was just like God said it was going to be. Oh, it's lush. It's beautiful. It's pretty. Man, do you see these grapes? Do you see these pomegranates? I'm in the book. Do you see this stuff? He said, and the land is flowing with milk and honey. Milk and honey is basically saying there's cattle over here. And honey means there's vegetation over here. That means there's birds. It's some stuff going on. And when they say milk and honey, it ain't nobody walking around with a can of milk and a jar of honey. I used to wonder what did that mean. Milk and honey, that don't even sound good together. But when you dig into it, it's telling you, okay, the only way there can be milk there is there has to be mammals there. The only way there has to be can be honey there is there has to be bees there for pollination. If there's pollination, that means there's some vegetation going on. That's what that means. Got it? Good. Okay. They said, so it's flowing with milk and honey. But then the old boy said, but there's some big people over there. We can't take that land. There's giants over there. We look like grasshoppers to them. And little old Caleb said, if the Lord said we can take it, we gonna take it. And so let me show you what the old boys did, and this is for anybody that done spoke against what Pastor said the Lord said we can do. They went and got their own little crew. The old seasoned saints went and told the whole community, we ain't going to be able to do it. Because we seen, y'all didn't go over there. We seen how big them people were. We seen this. Nope. And they got the whole community riled up against the man of God. They were getting ready to try to stone Moses and Aaron. Getting ready to try to kill them for following what the Lord told them to do. And God said, look here, Moses, God's ruthless, man, in some of these. He said, Moses, I'll kill all of them. He said, I'll kill all of them, and I'll start a whole new tribe, and you and your new crew can go over here. Just say the word, Mo. I will annihilate them. Just say the word. I'll be done with them, and I'm God. I can make some more people. Can you imagine that? He's like, I can make some more people. Because before I allow this to fail, I'll get rid of the naysayers. Because I'm not going to go back on my word. Your people are going to get this land. It just might not be these. Why? Because they don't believe what I said. But Moses, even then, instead of saying, okay, God, you know what? Yeah, let's go on and do that. They was about to throw rocks at me anyway. Moses said, no, Lord, don't do that. Because them Egyptians saw you and what you did for them. And if you bring them all the way out here to the wilderness and kill them, they're going to say that he brought them all the way out there and couldn't save them. So, God, you can't do that for your name's sake. Moses was more concerned about God's reputation than he was himself being rich. Woo. Are you more concerned about being rich or what you look like in front of people? What does God look like through your life? Oh, wow, I know that was deep right there. That was a good nugget right there. Well, can't I do both? Can I be rich and make God look good? Yeah, you can if you don't compromise. Now watch. God says, well, I'll tell you what. Since I can't kill him, you don't want me to. He said, nobody over the age of 20 will see the promised land except 2 people. He said, the 2 people that's going to see it is the one that came back believing what I said. He said, the rest of them going to wander in this wilderness for 40 years till they all die. He said, I'm going to give them a year of wandering for every day that they spent scouting the land out. They scouted the land out for 40 days. And so since you didn't believe me even after what you've seen, you won't make it to the promised land. Oh, when Moses went and gave that message, the 10 that was doubting him, they got killed. But then here come the rest of the church. We believed him at first, but sinner, we gonna go. Yeah, we gonna go. Well, yeah, the Lord said it's ours, and Moses said, y'all better not go over there. You had your chance to stand. You had your chance to stand up for the leadership when they was talking trash about them. But you just listened. You had your chance to knock all of that down. I don't know who I'm talking to in here. But now there's something getting ready to happen. You want to stand up and say something. I says, no, I needed you to say something in the middle of it. Oh, y'all got serious on me then, but some of y'all telling on y'all self. That's between you and God. And they tried to go over there anyway. Even after the Lord, Moses told them, God ain't going to be with you if you go. And they got annihilated. Because God says, I don't need you standing with me when ain't nobody looking. I need you standing with me when everybody looking. Even if you're the only 2 that believe, I need you to stick with me. And now watch this. Here's the sad part, y'all. This is what goes back to Sunday. The Passover. Everybody was in the house. Think about that. Everybody that was on this trip was in the house that was covered with the blood of the Lamb. All of them ate of the blood of the Lamb. All of them came out of the house and went on the trip, but didn't make it to the destination because they didn't believe the God that had fed them. They didn't believe the God that had delivered them. They didn't believe, they still was believing people. They were in these same people that were in the house that God saved did not inherit the promise simply because it was done. Their attitude. They kept the whole trip. They kept a prison mindset. The whole trip. Every time something bad happened, you should have just left us in Egypt. Now the whole time you saying you should have just left us in Egypt, you still walking with us. You could have went back. You want to go back to Egypt so bad, go on out there with Pharaoh and them. They floating right about now. But the question is, no, the statement is, I don't care where you move to. If your mindset don't change, I don't care if you get the boo you wanted your whole life. If your mindset does not change, you will end up in the same position that you was in the last time. If you still have a prison mindset or a defeated mindset, a depressed mindset, if that is still your mindset, it's not going to change just because you change locations. And there are some promises that God has made that mindset will never see. These people had the opportunity and the chance of a lifetime. But because they couldn't break that old Egyptian thought process, God says, okay, you will wander around in this wilderness for 40 years because you didn't believe me. Not only did you not believe me, you cast the doubt in the mind of everybody else. And they believed you over me. That's why I tell people, you better be careful who you talking to. You better be careful what you listen to. You better be careful any conversation you have with anybody. Even if you think it's just between you and somebody else, it could be somebody else standing beside you listening. I can't tell y'all how many young ladies I've counseled that detest marriage, that they scared to get married because they done listen to a whole bunch of bitter people. And that you don't even realize you done put toxicity in somebody else's house that was really wanting to do it, but because of all of the conversations about how bad it worked out for somebody else. That's like the movies. I don't listen to people when they get to my man, no, don't go see that. That movie ain't no good. I'll be like, maybe to you. If you don't go see a movie because everybody say it ain't no good, you let everybody else make your decisions for you. If you buy your clothes because everybody else say they look good, you let everybody else make a decision for you. That is showing that everybody else's opinion matters too much in your life.